Hello friends, this is Carrie and welcome back to I Like Reddit channel. I hope you all are staying safe and healthy. I'm sorry I didn't post a video last week. I hope this video makes up for it, and I'll try and post another video this week as well too. Anywho, today we have 5 stories out of the Entitled Parents subreddit. Let's begin. Our first story is posted by WitherPrince73. EM endangers whole busload of kids, gets tased and arrested. So this happened back in 2017. It was a normal school day morning. I'd gotten ready and was waiting for the bus. A bit of background first. The way the bus system works in our school is that the bus driver can't wait more than 5 minutes for one late pupil. So there was probably one of the youngest kids who used the bus. He was 5 years old, quite an innocent kid, whose mother usually escorted him to the bus. So we waited at the bus stop for about 5 minutes, and nobody was coming, so the driver began to move on. We had gotten far away from there when there was honks from a car tailgating us. Then the car overtakes us and slams on the brakes. Luckily, the bus driver was able to slam on the brakes. Now everyone is just shaken up. We had almost crashed straight into a car, and guess who walks out? EM. How dare you leave my child? He's 5 for God's sakes. I have a job and can't be chasing you to pick him up. It's your job to pick up my kid and take him to school. Is that so hard for you to do? Screaming and flipping the bus driver off. Open your door and take my freaking child to school. The child, meanwhile, is just shocked and surprised. I'm not sure this woman picked the right space to almost run a busload of kids off the road, because not long after, the cops showed up. Cop 1, directed to the bus driver. Sir, is there a problem here? Now, the EM had a worried look on her face. She knew she was in the wrong. The bus driver and the EM told their separate sides of the story. Cop 2. So ma'am, did you try and run the bus off the road? The EM is not apologetic at all. EM. I just wanted the stupid bus to stop. Cop 1. Okay ma'am, we're gonna need you to come with us. Now this woman went from EM to a horrible parent. The EM makes a break for her car, leaving her child behind. Cop 1 then tases her. She was quickly arrested and put in the cop car. The worst part was that her kid was sitting there watching his mom curse at the bus driver, watching her get tased. The other thing that was pretty bad was that the bus driver usually would stretch 5-minute limit for anyone who was late. He hated leaving pupils behind. I think the lady ended up paying a ridiculous fine and doing a few months in the slammer. Takeaway from all of this? Not only was this woman an entitled witch who thought the school rules didn't apply to her, but she was also a horrible parent ready to endanger and then abandon her own child at the first sign of trouble. Our next story is by DCaholic. We're having a 6th kid, and we can't afford it, so we're expecting you to give us your college fund. I am female, 19, my parents' 2nd child. I have 3 brothers, 21, 13, and 7, and a sister, 16. We grew up poor, and our parents were often dependent on financial help from relatives, friends, etc. for raising us. This is because even though my dad has a mediocre job, my mom doesn't work. They kept popping out one kid after another after another. My parents are very religious and believe that children are a gift from God. Personally, I think it's a load of hooey. My parents' reproductive choices wouldn't bother me if it hadn't caused mine and my siblings' lives to turn out like crap. While growing up, we never had new clothes or toys. We had to accept handouts from family members who were better off. We never went out nor did anything fun. To top it off, we were well aware that the rest of the family looked down upon us for constantly asking for handouts. Now, my older brother and I managed to get into good colleges and are looking forward to a future that would be better than our parents' lives. He and I were staying at our parents' place for a while due to the whole COVID-19 lockdown. One morning, my parents called all 5 of us into the living room. My mom said that she had great news. The smile that was forming on my face died a quick death when she said, "We're pregnant!" I lost my temper. I asked them how they could be so stupid and irresponsible. Did they not have enough financial troubles already that they should bring another mouth in to feed? My older brother tried to calm me down, but I was livid. After a lifetime of scarcity because of my parents' stupidity, they still hadn't learned their lesson. I asked them how they planned to provide for this kid. My dad told me I would have to give up the money that my great uncle had left me. He left all 5 of us some money, which only we would have access to when we turned 18. I said, hell no. though, that that money would help pay for my college expenses. He called me selfish for not being there for the family. I told them that if they couldn't provide for this kid, that they should terminate the pregnancy. My mom started crying and called me a heartless monster. Dad told me that he was disgusted with me. I told them that there was no way I was going to pay for their stupidity, and the only thing that I would be willing to pay for is a termination. What I was really worried about was my siblings' lives getting even worse. My older brother and I had escaped our parents' clutches, but the others, especially my younger sister, will be expected to take care of this baby. No teenager deserves to have their adolescence ruined by diapers and a screaming baby. I know what it's like, as I had to go through it. It was expected of me to be an unpaid nanny to my younger brothers and sister. My older brother could go out with his friends and have fun, but I had to stay home and help give baths and feed the toddlers. I decided to get some family members involved so that they could talk some sense into my parents. I called my mom's maternal cousin. She's one of my favorite people. When I told her that my mom and dad were planning on having another kid, she reacted with, "What? Again?" I told her everything and how they expected me to hand over my inheritance. She said that she was going to speak to my parents and told me not to sign over anything. I promised her that I wouldn't. Of course I won't. I also called two of my first cousins, one of whom is an accountant, so that she could explain to my parents how much of a financial liability this baby is going to be and trying to convince them to either abort or give it up for adoption. I moved out of my parents' home a few days ago. I was only going to stay there until the lockdown was relaxed, but I just can't bear to listen to my mom nag me about how this baby is a blessing and that I want to kill it. I've moved into a friend's basement for minimal rent. My mom's cousin paid him a visit about a week ago and tried to tell them that they weren't doing this kid any favors by bringing him into a life of poverty. My mom was very rude to my aunt and told her that a woman who has chosen to remain barren will never understand a mother's love. My aunt never wanted kids, nor had any. One of the reasons why she's my favorite. My dad told her to get out. My aunt told me there was nothing she could do, but she did try. I don't blame her for that. My cousin tried to explain the economic impact that this kid would have, and my mom cried about how everyone is trying to take my baby away. WTF? The intervention didn't go well, so now I've decided to cut contact with my parents. I just can't watch my family slide further and further into a hellhole. I'll be maintaining contact with my sister, 16, just to make sure that my parents can't brainwash her. My older brother is going to stay in touch with all of them, which is a good thing, as he can act as a link between me and my other siblings if my parents ever forbid them from talking to me. Otherwise, I'm done with these people. If you're enjoying the content so far, please put a heart emoji in the comment section down below. Our next story is by The Forgotten Cook, entitled Aunt Tries to Use My Parents to Steal From Me. Now, I honestly never thought my parents would be this stupid to be caught like this. They've never done anything like this with my other siblings, but hey, this incident happened because my aunt decided to lie and try and steal from me. So a few years back, I moved out of my family home and bought my own home. A nice place that I could call my own and do my own crazy ideas that I couldn't really get away with. Naturally, I'd given my parents a spare key just in case there was an emergency or if I forgot to return something. Now, after a while of living on my own and saving a few quid here and there, I managed to get my own gaming room / nerd cave all set up. My old man and I had built a custom desk so that I could have my Xbox, my computer, and my Switch. It's not a fancy setup like I've seen online, but I love it. Even more than the desk is mine, there are a few wobbly cuts, paint not dried like I thought it would, but it's perfect to me. So, naturally after finishing it and testing to make sure that things were in reach when I sat down, I had to show it off. So a few pictures taken and shared online, because the internet is mainly for bragging and showing off. I had a message from my aunt saying that I'm an adult and shouldn't be playing silly games and that I should give her kids my Switch. Naturally I said no, but I promised that if I got bored with it, I would message her offering first chance to buy it. I don't think she approved, as she left me on red. That all happened at the beginning of the year, before the pandemic hit. I thought nothing more of it. Now, after most of the year being on furlough and restrictions are easing off, I'm back at the office working. The other day, I got a phone call from my mom. She's at my place with my aunt to pick up the Switch that I had promised to my cousins. Now, I had let a friend of mine borrow it because he and his wife were thinking about buying one but wanted to try it out first. I told my mom to wait. I'm finishing in a few minutes and I'll be right there. I get home, and sure enough, I see my mom's car and my aunt's car. I burst through the door and make my mom and aunt jump. Me looking at my aunt. What in the bloody hell do you think you are doing here? Aunt. I'm here for the Switch you said I could have. Me. I said, if I got rid of it, I'd sell it to you. Mum. You told me you bought it off him. Me. Well, it ain't here. Aunt. Well, I'll take this other thing. And I started to walk in front of her before Mum calmed me down. Me. Get out now, and I never want to see your face here. If I do, I'm phoning the police. Aunt quickly left, and my mom started apologizing and told me how Aunt said that she bought it off me, but said that you two were struggling to organize a time for her to pick it up. I looked at her, and all I could say was I want my spare key back. Now I'm being bombarded by my sister and brother about how I made my mom cry. But I asked them, how would you like it if Mom was going through your stuff and giving your expensive stuff away? Our next story is by Maurice10304. EM and EK try to steal my first class seat. So this morning I was traveling by train to work. Due to COVID, not many people are traveling via train, so the train company has shorter trains than usual. Not a problem in my opinion, but this morning the train was extra short due to some material issues. So I'm sitting in my first class seat next to the window. Then the EM and EK walk in. EM. Excuse me, young man. Me looking up at EM. EM. I see you're sitting at the window. Me. Yes? EK screams out of nowhere, Mom, I want to look out the window. Other people in the train are now looking at the three of us. EM. My boy wants to have this seat. Me. Has your kid have a disability or a handicap? I asked this because I wanted to give up my seat if the EK really has a disability or a handicap which might not be visible. EM freaks out. EM. How rude! She starts screaming for a train employee. Me. I'm asking because if he has one, I'm willing to give up my seat. Train employee, TE, arrives. TE. What seems to be the problem? EM. This young man is calling my son handicapped. I want him kicked off this train. Me. I was asking because TE. Young man, can I see your ID and ticket please? Me. Sure. I stand up and get the ticket out of my bag, which was in the luggage compartment. EK starts sitting on my spot and starts looking out the window. Me gives the ticket and ID to the train employee. Train employee. This seems to be fine, sir. Now what seems to be the problem? Me. I was asking if her kid had a handicap or a disability because I want to give him my seat. Train employee. That is indeed the right thing to do. EM interrupts the train employee. EM. He didn't want to give up his seat. He was screaming that my little boy was an idiot. Me. I didn't. Train employee. Ma'am, can I see your tickets and ID, please? EM hands over her tickets. Train employee. Ma'am, these tickets are for second class. You need to go sit in second class. EM. We can't. There's a lot of people there. Train employee. Ma'am, you need to leave now and give this man his seat back. EM grabs EK and walks off. EK screams, No! I wanted the window seat. Train employee. Sorry for the inconvenience, sir. Train employee walks off. After 5 minutes, the next stop, I saw EK and EM walking out of the train. They literally went through all this trouble for a total of a 14-minute ride. Well, that's it. Thanks for reading. Our final story is posted by Morosa3. My mom tries to convince me to go on a weekend resort vacation with me and my newborn that she's not allowed to see. This is an update to my previous post, Mom turns room into nursery, after I told her that she will never meet my baby. Backstory. My mom and I have not spoken for many months now. My entire pregnancy, she was terrible to me and my partner, and because of that, I told her she would not be seeing her grandchild, whom she'd likened to call her baby. On top of that, we will be moving across the country to be closer to other family. Her response was, We will see about that. And then she proceeded to build a nursery in her room filled to the brim with baby essentials. So I gave birth about a week ago, at home, and my partner and I are so happy with our new addition. We have been quarantined since the second she was born, and our pediatrician recommended for us to keep the baby home for an additional 2 months to keep her safe from the virus. My mom calls me after the birth crying about how upset she was that I didn't invite her to be present at the birth and also to congratulate me on giving birth to her baby. Then she asked me if she can come over to see her. My partner and I, along with the consult of a lawyer, agreed that my mother could see her one time through a car window, though there would be no touching or holding of any kind, just a simple viewing. So I told her this, and her response was that she would let me know when she was available, and then hasn't said a word to me all week after, which works for me because I didn't want her to see my baby anyway. We just wanted to give her a chance. This morning I got a voicemail from her asking to go on a resort trip for a weekend. I'm absolutely baffled by this. What is going on in her mind? I don't even know what to say. 1. There's still a pandemic and we're quarantined with a baby. 2. I literally just gave birth a few days ago. 3. We haven't spoken in months, and all of a sudden she expects me to just go on vacation with her. 4. She's not allowed to see my baby, and even if she just wanted me to go, I'm not leaving my newborn. 5. I'm not going to take the baby away from her father for that long just so that my mom can hang out with her. We are set to move as soon as I'm cleared by my midwife. I'm not responding to my mother, and I'm starting to think that she is either seriously trying to manipulate me, or she is really not right in the head. Probably a mix of both. I gave her a chance to see the baby on my terms. She didn't take it, so it's her loss. That's all the stories I have for today. Links to the original Reddit post will be in the description box below. Please stop on by Reddit to show the OP some love and an upvote. If you enjoy my videos, please comment, like, share, and subscribe. Don't forget to hit the bell notification to let you know when I upload new videos. Thank you for watching, and have a wonderful day.